Have you ever noticed something strange about Zepto? So you haven't received anything yet, but the moment you open the app, it already feels fast. So you search, you find the product, you add it, you pay, and suddenly your order is already on its way. But here is what I find more interesting. Zepto isn't just designing an app that delivers the things quickly. So they are designing an experience that makes you feel like everything should happen quickly. So, and once you start looking at Zepto from a UX perspective, you will notice something even more interesting. So the same UX that makes your life easier can also influence what you buy, how much you buy, and how quickly you expect the things. So today, let's break down Zepto's UX. And let's also look at the uncomfortable side of it. So, quick note before we start. So, if you're a student, join our Saturday workshop for real problems and real learning. If you are from a college or company and want me to come over for a session for a training, just to reach out. And if you are building a product and want me to take a look at it, we can help with that too. So details are in the description. Now let's get into it. Zepto isn't really selling groceries. See, let's start with something fundamental. Zepto looks like an e-com app, but the way you use it is very different from the traditional e-commerce. So think about Amazon. You might spend 20 minutes looking for a headphones, compare with the 5 products, read the reviews, check the specifications, look at the ratings. You are shopping. But when you open Zepto, your mindset is often completely different. I need a milk. I need bread. I forgot floor cleaner. I need this right now. So Zepto isn't primarily optimizing for leisurely shopping. It is optimizing for immediate decisions. And that is our first UX lesson. Don't design around what you are selling. Design around what the user is trying to accomplish. 2. The home screen is designed around intent. Look at the Zepto experience. Search is prominent. Categories are easy to access. Products are immediately visible, offers and recommendations are constantly surfaced, and throughout the experience, the delivery promise is reinforced. So the whole experience is basically saying, tell me what you need. I will get you quickly. So that is very different from saying, welcome to our catalog, please explore. Zepto understands something important. The user didn't come here to browse. They came here to solve something. 3. Search reduces the distance between intent and action. So now let's look at the search. Suppose I need a floor cleaner. I don't want to navigate home care, cleaning, floor cleaner, brand, size, number. No, I simply type Lizol and immediately I get the product. So that is a very tiny interaction, but this is exactly what good UX does. It reduces the distance between what I want and what I need to do, get it. And that is an important principle for designers. So when user intent is clear, don't make them work. 4. The add button is doing more than you think. So now look at the product card. So product, price, quantity, discount, and add. So you don't have to open multiple screens. So you don't have to search for the primary action. So the interface tells you exactly what to do next. So that is good interaction design because every unnecessary step creates another opportunity for hesitation, distraction, confusion, or abandonment. So Zepto is constantly removing those little moments of friction, and that is why the experience feels fast. 5. The psychology of speed. So now we get to something more interesting, the delivery estimate. Imagine the app tells you 10 minutes. So you place the order. Now you can see the progress, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes. So that timer isn't just an information, it's managing your expectation. So instead of asking that, where is my order? So you are watching the progress, and progress creates the confidence. So this is the fundamental product principle. So uncertainty creates the anxiety, progress creates the confidence. So the faster the experience feels, the less uncertainty you experience. So, and that is a huge part of the Zepto experience. 6. But there is a darker side to speed. But here is where things get interesting. So there is another side to do this. Zepto isn't just making delivery faster. It can also change our expectations of speed. Think about it. If you become accustomed to getting something in 10 minutes, what happens when another service says 30 minutes? Suddenly 30 minutes feels very long. So even though objectively it isn't. And that is the uncomfortable side of convenience. So when you reduce the waiting, you can also reduce our tolerance for waiting. So the product doesn't just solve a problem. Over a period of time, the experience can influence the user behavior and expectations. And that is something designers should think about it. 7. Now let's look at how Zepto can influence what you buy. Now I am going to show you something I actually experienced while using Zepto, and this is where I think the UX gets really interesting. I searched for Lizol Floor Cleaner. I found the 625 ml bottle at the cost of 156 rupees. I added to my cart. So my decision was made. I wanted 625 ml. Simple. But then a pop-up appeared and Zepto recommended 1.8 liters of 275 rupees. But that is not the interesting part. Look at what else they show. 15.27 paise per 100 ml. And it is highlighted in green. So now pause for a second. Zepto just changed the question. So I originally came into the app thinking I needed 625 ml. But after seeing this recommendation, my brain starts asking, why should I buy 625 ml when 1.8 liters gives me more value? So that is a completely different decision. So Zepto hasn't simply shown me another product. They have changed the frame of the decision. The original question was, do I need a Lizol? The new question becomes, which quantity gives me better value? And that is where behavioral psychology comes into UX. The green price is important. So look at this number, 15 rupees 27 paise per 100 ml. Why show this? Because the total price alone doesn't tell the whole story. So 156 versus 275. So 275 obviously looks more expensive, but when you frame the purchase around price per quantity, the larger pack starts looking like the smarter choice. Now the users start thinking, I am getting much more for only a little more money. And suddenly buying more feels like saving. This is a powerful behavioral principle. The way you frame a choice can influence the choice itself. Now here is the question, is this bad UX? Not necessarily. If I actually need 1.8 liters, this recommendation is useful. Maybe I am getting better value. Maybe I would have bought it anyway. From a business perspective, it's also a smart recommendation. But from a UX perspective, we need to ask a deeper question. Is the interface simply helping me to make a decision, or is it nudging me toward a different decision? And that is where UX becomes really interesting, because good UX isn't always neutral. So 11, UX can influence the behavior. So think about what Zepto is doing across the experience. It reduces the frictions, it reduces uncertainty, it creates a sense of speed, it recommends alternatives, it frames the value, it makes adding another product extremely easy. So none of these things individually are necessarily bad, but together they can influence the behavior. And this is an important lesson for a product designers. You are not just designing an interface, you are designing the choices, the business side of UX. And let's be honest, from a business perspective, this makes perfect sense. A user who came to buy one item might leave with three. So a user who intended to buy 625 ml might buy 1.8 liters. A user who wanted to spend 150 rupees might spend 275 rupees. So that is not necessarily a failure of UX. That is the business model working. But as a designers, we should understand the difference between helping users and nudging users, because that line between the two can sometimes become very thin. The real product design lesson. And that is why I think Zepto is such an interesting product to study, not because the UI is beautiful, not because the colors are nice, not because the buttons looks good. The interesting part is the thinking behind the experience. Zepto is designing around urgency, speed, convenience, certainty, value perceptions, and purchasing behavior. So that is product thinking. So 3 things designers can learn from Zepto. Lesson 1, design around user intent. So if the user knows what they want, don't make them browse. So give them the shortest path. Lesson number 2, reduce uncertainty. Tell the users what is happening, what is available, what is the price, when will it arrive, what is the next step. So good UX remove unnecessary uncertainty. Lesson 3, understand behavioral design. So every design decisions can influence the behavior. A button can encourage an action. A recommendation can change the decision. A price comparison can change the perceived value. A countdown can change our perception of waiting. So design is not just about what users see. It is about what users do next. The bigger question. And here is the question I want to leave you with. If an app makes it incredibly easy to buy something and also makes you want to buy more, where does good UX end and manipulation begin? So there is no simple answer, and that is exactly why product designers need to understand more than UI. So you need to understand users, business, psychology, behavior, and the consequences of your design decisions. Conclusion. So the next time you open Zepto, don't just look at the product you are buying. Look at the decisions the interface is asking you to make. Ask yourself, why am I seeing this? Why is this button here? Why is the price highlighted? Why am I being shown this quantity? Why does this experience feel so fast? Because that is how you start thinking like a product designer, not by copying the screens, but by understanding the thinking behind them. If you are watching this and thinking, I want to learn how to think like a UX or product designer, but I'm not sure where to start. Don't worry about figuring it out all out by yourself. So every Saturday, I'm personally conduct a live workshop at Aspira where you can experience how we approach the real world design and product problems. You can join the workshop and ask the questions, walk through the problem, and understand whether UX design, product design, or product and data analyst is the right direction for you. And if you are already know what you want but need some clarity about the right program or the right plan, you just WhatsApp to our team. So the number is in the description. Don't just watch, try it out. See how we think, learn, and solve the real world problems. All right. So I will catch you soon with another meaningful topic. Until then, bye bye.